I had Logan Paul on my podcast.
Would Logan do it with me?
Logan would kick your ass, I think. You're riding a fantastic wave. How could you not make some mistakes along the way?
How can you be for small government and then have the government dictate all these things in your personal life,
exactly.
right? You idiots. You got it completely wrong.
Can't you just wake up and stop? I was walking down the hallway like a darted bull with a needle sticking out of my ass. Tell me the 5 steps to getting to the point where someone like you would say, I want this guy in my life. I want to help this guy. Hey, Jordan Belfort here, the Wolf of Wall Street, and I am in the new, vastly improved Wolf's Den, where, again, as I said last week, from this point forward, you'll be able to join me once each week, not twice each week like the original Wolf's Den, which was still awesome, by the way, with some amazing guests, some magic moments, incredibly magic moments, in fact. But as you're about to find out, and if you saw last week's episode, which was the new Wolf's Den, while it was awesome last year, this year is going to be infinitely more awesome. In fact, you'll be able to get anything and everything that you could ever possibly want in a success-oriented, business-oriented, sales-oriented, and of course, laugh-out-loud funny, and at times totally irreverent podcast from yours truly, the real Wolf of Wall Street. Okay? So with that, let's cut right to the chase here, and I'm going to be talking about a topic this week that is crucial for every single person in the world. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, young or old, where you live. You could be living in Australia, Alaska, Africa, Europe. Doesn't matter what language you speak. What I want to talk about here is having the ability to essentially get people to see things your way. How do you get your point across to somebody in a way that connects with them at a very deep level, emotionally, makes sense to them logically? So when they try to think it through, they say, yeah, it actually does add up. And when you combine those two together, essentially, it makes people say, yeah, I guess this person is right, and maybe I wasn't as right as I originally thought. In other words, it's about winning an argument. It's about getting the best side of a negotiation, closing a deal, convincing the people that you love to do what's in their own best interest, convincing the people that you hate just to get out of your face, basically. There's whatever it is in life, having the ability to influence, persuade, get your message out there so people will see things your way is, to me, the single most important linchpin skill to living an empowered life that is marked by massive wealth and abundance and happy times. I couldn't imagine, frankly, what it would be like to go through life not having the ability to really get your point across to other people and hopefully get them to see things your way. Some of the examples I've used in the past are, you could be a parent trying to get your kid to make their bed or take a bath or do their homework. You could be a teacher trying to influence your students on the value of education. You could be a lawyer trying to influence a jury. You could be a pastor trying to sell your congregation on a certain moral principle. A politician. Oh, God, let me just stop right there for a second. I have to just say one thing about current events before I go any further here. You know what's going on with the impeachment, right? Now, I'm not here to talk about whether I believe you should be a Republican, a Democrat, a liberal, a conservative. But let me just tell you, Bond, this is a bunch of bullshit. I mean, really, I agree with this impeachment about as much as I agree with impeaching Bill Clinton, who was a Democrat, because he got a blowjob in the Oval Office. I mean, this is freaking crazy, right? I mean, our country, and if, wherever you are, just the United States, we have a massive budget deficit, trade deficits, homelessness in the streets. There's so much bad shit happening here, and yet there's so much great stuff, too. We're the beacon of light for the world. It's an amazing place. There's no place on earth that has the entrepreneurial spirit like the United States. And that needs to be protected at all costs. But right now, there's just politicians and a bunch of extremists. These are small groups of people on each side that are spewing such hatred and vileness. And Trump got elected. Just let him do his fucking job. You could hate the guy. By the way, I don't love everything about Trump. You could hate this guy, let him do his job, and vote him out of fucking office. You're not going to impeach him out of office in the same way you aren't going to get rid of Bill Clinton, who I loved, by the way. He was a Democrat. So I'm not even saying a Republican or Democrat, but you know what? There's enough problems right now that we have. This is a waste of fucking time. And it's a waste of tying up the news cycle. I'd rather them be talking about me than this stupid impeachment shit. Some of my good stuff. Just kidding there. But the point is that it's ridiculous. He's not getting impeached. The Senate is controlled by Republicans. This is just a show. And I'm not even saying the Republicans are any better than Democrats, because they'd be doing the same thing to a guy on the other side. If they thought they could have done it to Obama, they would have done it to him. It's awful. It's terrible. When someone gets elected, let him do his fucking job. Whether that person's a man or a woman, whether they're a liberal, a conservative, a Democrat, let them do their job and vote them out of office, all right? And that's all I got to say about that, because this is a waste of fucking time. It's a waste of the public discourse, and that's that. That's me communicating my thoughts about what's going on with the, what do you want to call it, the alleged impeachment. What a fucking joke. Anyway, let's get down to basics here. Doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You have to own this skill set to communicate your ideas, thoughts, hopes, and dreams, right? The breakthrough that I came up with many, many years ago that allowed me to take all those young kids that you saw in the movie and turn them into world-class salespeople, expert closers, forces to be reckoned with, top producers, millionaires, people that were able to move through the world and essentially get other people to say yes to them. Because if you're in professional sales, or you're a business owner, or simply any success-oriented thinker, there's going to be a good part of your life which is about getting people to say yes to you, right? I came up with a methodology, a system called the straight line. And I'm sure many of you know it. It was all over the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. In fact, at the end, Leo is teaching it on stage, right? And this system developed a nickname back in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was called the Great Equalizer. Why? Because when you learned this system, it essentially equalized you with people who were better educated, came from better families. And I say better, I mean wealthier families, better connected families, people who are born with the ability to influence and persuade, people with finer educations. So those people typically would outperform you in the workplace. They'd outperform you in life. They'd get further ahead. They'd get better jobs, make more money, have more stable families. Seriously, there's all these amazing advantages because of having this ability. And I wouldn't say breeding, but your upbringing that gave them this edge, right? But when I invented the straight line system, and I taught it to all these young average kids who'd come from poor families, who had been financially disempowered, emotionally disempowered, meaning these were kids that had never been told by their parents that they were capable of greatness. And any greatness that they had naturally had in them had been literally conditioned out of them since the day they were born. First by their own parents, then by their friends, by their school teachers, by the media, the news cycle. In fact, by the time these kids, 18 to 20, 21 years old, had stumbled into my boardroom, my company, Stratton Oakmont, they had been conditioned to survive, not to thrive. But none of that mattered once I invented the straight line system. Once I was able to show them a way to essentially rewrite their past thoughts and beliefs about themselves, because I taught them a very powerful skill set. And this is the key here, and I want you to really think about this. And I'm not looking to sell you anything. There's no links going up here I'm just trying to explain to you the importance of persuasion and how your ability to go out there and close, not just in a sales setting, but just to win an argument, a negotiation, just to get your point across, why it actually will then revert back into the inner game, your mindset for success, how empowered you think. In other words, what happens is we move through life, we take actions, and based on those actions, we get results. If we take actions and get lots of negative results, what do? We start telling ourselves a story to make sense of those results. We say, maybe I'm not meant to be rich. Maybe I'm not a great salesperson. Maybe I'm not just good with people. Maybe I was meant to just live a small life, and that's okay. And you develop the story in your head about why you can't get what you want in life. And ultimately, if that goes on long enough, that story that you tell yourself is what actually stops you from getting what you want in life. Because here's the deal. The story stops you from getting honest. Because the honest truth is that the reason that you feel that way is because you lacked a skill. You didn't possess the actual skill, tactic, and strategy to be able to get your point across, to close the deal, to communicate effectively. And because of that, you got a negative result. And it was the lack of knowledge that created the negative result, not a lack of you, meaning a lack of intelligence, a lack of talent, a lack of, bad fate, that you're just destined for averagism. No, you lacked the skill. And sales, at least the way I learned to teach it when I discovered the straight line system, it was a learnable skill. It became a learnable, easily attainable skill set. And once you had that skill set and you were in front of someone like me who was motivating you at the same time. So once I taught you the skill, I'd say, listen, and just so you know, now that you know this, everything in the past falls off. It doesn't matter that you failed at your last 3 jobs. It doesn't matter that your mom told you never amount to anything. It doesn't matter that your 4th grade teacher said you're not that smart and you'll just be average. It doesn't matter that you went bankrupt a year ago. It doesn't matter that your ex-wife told you you're a moron. None of that matters anymore because now you're different. You've been fundamentally changed. You now know something you didn't know before, and this skill into itself makes you infinitely more effective. And watch what happens now when you take action. You'll get the result you wanted. That's what I would say to them. And I'd say it every day, again and again. And I made them better at sales, kept, reinforcing the skills. Point being is it's always a combination of skills training and motivation. You have to be working on the inner game, your mindset for success, and the actual skills you possess. And the same thing goes with whatever you do. In other words, it's not just for selling. Whether you're an athlete, you can have the greatest success mindset for sports, but there's going to be technical skills. You're a tennis player. You have to know how to strike a tennis ball a certain way, right? Roger Federer practiced 8 jillion hours along with Nadal, right? These guys perfected the art of tennis. And then Roger Federer, at the age of 19 and 20, used to throw his racket. He'd psych himself out. And he trained himself in the mindset of success and became the coolest cucumber to ever pick up a racket and went on to break every single record. Same goes with Nadal. 2 of the finest players, probably the finest players in the history of the game. See the same thing in golf with Tiger Woods. Look what happened with Tiger Woods. He was this inflappable, amazingly talented guy with the most incredible, calmest mindset. And the story that was told was that because his mother, I believe, was Asian, she instilled this Asian sort of calm and zen thing in him. And his dad was training him to maintain focus and attention since he was like 5. He was like, launching in his ear while he was about to strike a golf ball to make sure he could hold his attention. He was like, throwing things at him and just making sure he can maintain that mindset of absolute focus while he perfected his skill of striking a golf ball. And then we watched what happened with Tiger Woods when his marriage fell apart. We watched his golf game just literally almost vanish seemingly overnight because he's not as good a golfer anymore? No. Because his mind was basically screwed up for a while. Rightfully so. He was going through a terrible divorce. And we all know I've been there too. Many of you have been there as well. When your mindset is screwed up, you can't bring the skill set to the table. So when it comes to achieving success in life, there's always going to be that combination of mindset and skill set. And they feed off of one another. Now, getting specific here, because I want to actually show you a few tips and strategies. I don't call them tricks, they're just tips and strategies here of how you actually can become a more effective influencer and persuader. And I'm not talking about becoming some sort of hard-charging, rip their throats out salesman. That's not what I mean at all. And I'm not talking about trying to sound like me or act like me. Maybe for some of you that would work well because you're already of that vein. What I'm talking about here is something very different. I'm talking about helping you become the best communicator that is congruent with who you are and what you're comfortable with. Bottom line, you want to be your best self. And the one thing I can promise you about sales, persuasion, communication, influence, negotiation is that once you learn this system and once you put in a little bit of time, I'm not saying you to become me. You won't be the world's greatest salesman. Maybe you will, maybe not, but you will certainly become good enough. Meaning that if you don't get what you want in life, It wasn't because you lacked the ability to influence and persuade. It was something else. I'm going to take this off the table for you. Now, it starts with understanding the basis of all communication, meaning when I talk about goal-oriented communication, not regular like blah, blah, blah between friends. Goal-oriented communication, meaning that you actually have a certain point, an idea that you want to get across to another person, and either maybe they're already thinking like you, which would be someone that's going to be an easy sell, so to speak, or they're thinking very differently, and you have to essentially change their way of thinking so it more closely resembles your own. That we call closing someone, in this case, closing them on an idea, that your idea is actually the right thesis. Yours is correct. How does that process begin? What does it look like? What things have to line up? And what do you do first if you're just getting started? Let's say you're just not a naturally great communicator. Sales does not come naturally to you. What would you do first? Do you memorize lots of words? Or what's that first step? Let me just demystify the whole thing for you. And I want to talk some big picture stuff here to start. Maybe I'll, revisit this topic again over the coming weeks. I have a lot more stuff I want to talk about as well. But let's just start big picture. At the essence of all effective communication, at the essence of influence in your life, once you learn how to control the linguistic encounter, to control the sale, you will be shocked at how easy influence becomes. Let me repeat that. Once you learn to control the sale, control the encounter, you'll be shocked at how easy influence becomes. You'll be shocked at how easy it is to get people to see things your way. In other words, when two people are communicating, I don't want to be as blunt as saying one is dominant and one is the opposite, submissive. That's kind of like not quite the right words. Someone is in control and someone is actually following that person. Not that they're out of control, but someone is controlling the flow of the encounter. They're essentially guiding the conversation. And in the real world, as it turns out, there are three basic elements that get established almost immediately in the first 4 seconds of a sale. And based on these three elements, you're going to be perceived either one way or another. If you're perceived the right way, meaning the positive way in terms of influence and persuasion, then people will essentially hand you control of the sale. They'll defer to you. If you're perceived the wrong way, they will try to take control of the sale. They will try to manage the flow of the encounter. What are these three things? Well, quite simply, if in the first 4 seconds of a conversation, you are not perceived as being, number one, sharp as a tack. You're sharp. You're on the ball. You're a born problem solver who's not going to waste your time or theirs. Number one, sharp as a tack. Number two, enthusiastic as hell. That you sound excited. And I'm not talking about that ridiculous brand of over-the-top enthusiasm where you're running around, flailing your arms around like you're batshit crazy. Oh, my God, my product is so great. I'm sorry. That's not what I'm not talking about infomercial crazy. I'm talking about a very different type of enthusiasm. I'm talking about bottled enthusiasm. And bottled enthusiasm is almost like you're a seething volcano. The power is internal. It's below the surface, just below the surface, bubbling up. It's palpable. You can feel it. It sounds like, damn, that guy's excited. Like, listen, I can sound really excited and be whispering. You see that power in my voice right now? I am telling you right now, this is the most crucial. I'm talking with absolute enthusiasm right now and certainty. I'm not yelling and screaming. I'm contained. My energy's inside because I'm that bottled enthusiasm guy just below the surface, seething volcano. Wow, what this person has it must be good. And then the third and most important of all, in terms of the things that must line up, is that you must be perceived as being an expert in your field. An expert. That you're top of the game. You're going to solve their problem. You know everything about the subject. Sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, an expert in your field, and the expert's the most important of all. Just think about it this way. Like if you're a woman, let's say you're about to go to a beautiful, important affair, your daughter or your sister or your is getting married, whatever it might be, right? And you have to get your hair done. You want to look extra special. Why not, right? Who would you go to? Would you go to, assuming price was an object, would you go to the woman, oh, you just graduated from beauty school yesterday. Oh, let me hire you. Or would you want to go to someone who's been making people look fabulous in Hollywood for 20 years? An expert. Of course, you'd seek out the expert. If you're a guy, you're playing some sport, and you break your leg. Do you go to the hospital and say, excuse me, I'd like to have the resident who just graduated from medical school look at my leg and set it in a cast, please? Or would you want to go to the orthopedist who's been doing it for 25 years, who's got 18 letters behind his name, who's the top of his field? Which one do you want setting your leg or doing surgery on you? You want the expert. Here's the deal. We have been trained, conditioned, since we're yay big, since we're kids, to seek out experts to resolve our problems and to eliminate our pain. That's what we've been trained to do. When we were young, we were sick. Our parents took us to a doctor. And when we walked into this doctor's office, we noticed some very interesting things. Like, number one, even our parents, who were mostly gods to us back then, we were very small, even they deferred to this very special man, the doctor, because this doctor had been through a lot of school. And he had a plaque on the wall, diploma. He knows everything there is to know about making sick people better. He has the stethoscope, and almost by walking into the doctor's office, you almost felt better already. And what happened when the doctor started to ask you questions? Did you ignore him? Did you answer his questions with questions? Or did you answer his questions honestly, forthrightly, without hesitation? You get it? See, when we are in the presence of an expert like that, or someone that we perceive to be an expert, we defer. We sit there and we listen. We answer their questions. We play along. We let them dictate the flow of the encounter, because we know that experts have been down this road. They have to ask us certain questions. They have to find out what they need to find out. We are there to give the information, versus when you go into a doctor's office very often now and you get a physician's assistant and they start asking you questions. What do? Do you answer them as honestly and forthrightly? No, you don't. You're a little bit almost, I want to see the doctor. I want to see the guy that's been to school for this shit. I mean, I'll give you an extreme example as a guy. And, you younger guys probably don't know this yet, but you get to over 40, every time you go to the doctor, you know what they do? They stick their finger up your ass, all right? You're like, oh, shit, you got to get your prostate freaking probed, right? Because they want to see if your prostate's enlarged. The doctor says to you, all right, bend over, and you know what's coming next. He puts the lube on, he's up the freaking cornhole, right? And guess what? What do? You're like, oh, fuck. And well, some of you love it, right? But the point is, you bend over and you let him stick his finger in your ass, right? Well, what would happen if it was like a physician's assistant did that and said to you, so it wasn't the doctor trying to stick the finger up your butt? Well, I say, excuse me. Well, if she was really hot, I'd probably do it. But the point is that under normal circumstances, I would just say, what are you, crazy or something? I mean, like, I want to see the doctor. I'm not bending over and dropping my drawers and spreading my ass cheeks for someone that hasn't been to school. You're not an expert. You haven't earned the right to stick your finger up my ass, okay? Bottom line, extreme example. All right. But the fact is that when you are in the presence of a doctor, you'll let them do whatever they say because they have earned that right. Same thing goes with lawyers. When you go to a great lawyer, he starts asking you questions. Why? He's been to law school. He has to know certain things to see what your best legal defense is. Guess what? The same thing goes for all sales and persuasion. The first step is always about asking people questions. And what happens is, and the reason for that, let me just stop for a second. The reason for that is because you have to identify what needs they have, what pain points they have, what values they have, what limiting beliefs they might have, what predispositions they might have towards your product, what you're selling, towards you, towards salespeople in general. All of these things. You need to know that in order to properly service and essentially close the client. The first step in any excellent sales process, and the straight line is head and shoulders above them all, it just is, and it's improving to be, right? Is that you must take control of that sale. That's the first step. The $1 million question is how. Now, I don't have time to get to this on this particular podcast. I do have some guests coming on. I'm sure we'll touch on that because I have some sales-oriented guests. There's 3 guys that actually teach a version of the straight line. They're from the home improvement industry, so I'm going to take a short break in a minute or two, call them on. I'm going to interview them in the context of this topic of sales and persuasion, and you'll watch me extract out their nuances and their strategies. You'll get a ton out of this, but just remember this. In those first 4 seconds, either one of 2 things happen. Either you take control of that conversation, you're perceived the right way, and people defer to you. Once you have that control, a whole universe of possibility opens up. Because now you can dictate the flow of the encounter. Separate conversation, what happens after that. But now you can dictate the flow of the encounter. Ask the right questions in the right order. Set yourself up for massive greatness. If you're perceived the wrong way, which would be dull as dishwater, a disinterested bore, and a stone-cold novice, well, good luck trying to take control of the conversation, and good luck trying to close anyone, because you won't. You'll be trampled over, you'll be abused, and by the way, that was exactly what was happening to my young brokers before I invented the straight line, before I taught them how you take control of the conversation. Okay? So, when we come back, I'm going to introduce you to the Grosso brothers, who run a very, very extensive and very profitable and awesome sales network in the home improvement field. But I'm going to be talking to them specifically about what their step-by-step program is, how they applied the straight line system, and how they built a $100 million company. I think you're going to find this incredibly interesting. So we'll be back shortly. It's going to be awesome. Stay tuned for the new improved Wolf's Den.
And we actually do a little guessing game because that's our report card to see how good of a job we did. So before we deliver price, we always want to feel out where the prospect thinks this will cost. Knowing what you now know, I tell you what, Jordan, I'd love for you to be my guest at dinner this evening. As a matter of fact, if you're able to guess within $500, the total investment of the proposal I have here to get your dream bath, your basement done, will take you out to any fine dining establishment in the greater Los Angeles area, as long as it's a McDonald's or Wendy's.
I got 3 amazing guests. Nick Richmond.
Dominic Caminata.
Nathan Richmond.
Boom. You've built a massive business around home improvements, right? $100 million a year business, right? Very profitable. You employ a lot of salespeople. You have a great rating. You're very ethical of what you do, which is important, right? And of course, there's a lot of crossover between the straight line system. You guys study it. You have your own system that you use, and there's a lot of commonality. So let's talk about the things in your system. Let's start just with sales, right? We'll dive right in.
Our salespeople, they get very limited information. They'll get the address of the home, the names of the customers, the product that they're interested in with a brief description of the project. So for windows, for example, it'll say customer interested in 10 windows and a patio door.
Is it mostly window? What is it typically? Is there there are 2 or 3 top sellers that make up 90% of your business, or
bath, window replacement, basement remodeling, some roofing, some siding.
Okay.
But mostly
Really,
high margin, quick turn.
It's applicable to anything. It's all about creating differentiation. So whatever product you sell, roofing, siding, we even dealt with waterproofing. You can create differentiation in your company. Why are you different? Why are you better than everyone else? What's different about your products that you sell? You know, that's what people don't do, is they don't really go through and explain why they're different, and then they're not building any value. Sure. So, yeah.
Any in-home sales, any in-home service could be, applicable to our program. It's amazing how terrible they are, right? They can barely show up to their appointment on time, let alone prepared with a sales process to follow.
Got it.
So it's easy for us because we're competing with individuals who aren't professional to begin with.
Let's start at the top. What's step 1?
Introduction. So that's kind of what you're describing, the introduction at the door. And we even explained prior to the intro, obviously preparing for a lead, the way you're dressed, your mindset, getting a workout in, eating right, getting enough sleep, all that stuff, leading up to getting to the appointment on time. obviously being a very important factor. And I talk about getting there, getting organized, mentally visualizing the entire appointment ahead of time. So almost like a meditation moment.
Got it.
But we preach getting there on time. So we talk about introduction at the door. We actually have scripted intros that take you intro at the door. Once you get into the house, what do you say? Once you get to the kitchen table, exactly a script.
So is that the goal? So where would the first step end when you get to the kitchen table, and that would start step 2 is intelligence gathering?
Yeah, so you sit at the table. We have a formal introduction we deliver when they're seated at the table, and you have the customer's undivided attention. And the whole point of this intro is to get them to be comfortable and relax, because the whole thing is we want the customer's guard to be down.
Give me just a quick synopsis. The first thing that you would say when you walk up and knock on someone's door, what would it be? Just,
I'd say Jordan. And the reason why is I want to make sure I'm talking with the correct person,
right?
But I want to get on a first name basis right away. And I say, hello, Jordan. My name's Dominic with Grosso University. I'd like to thank you for inviting us to your home here today. I'm actually here for a 10 o'clock appointment. May I come in? Great. So it's a very simple intro at the door.
So every single person that works, you better do that, right? I could not agree with you more. Because why not?
Yeah.
Right? Why reinvent the wheel? It works. It's elegant. It makes sense. It's respectful, right? So that's what they say. So they all walk in with this sort of, and they dress how? Suit and tie or casual?
No, definitely not. Yeah.
Name patch? What's the, I always say this big misconception of what represents like the best dress code. It's like every industry has its own best dress code, right? Yeah. Like, you don't want the home of someone with a 3-piece suit. You're like, oh, what's going to charge you for that suit, right? So you want to almost be like the very clean cut, almost like, I guess, is there a uniform with a name patch and stuff like that?
There can be. I mean, we have logo apparel that they wear, polo shirts, but it's a little more casual than it used to be. It used to be the full suit years ago.
Yeah.
And there's still companies that do it that way, but oftentimes, like you mentioned, the customers kind of put off by that.
Yeah.
You'd rather be on their level, especially in the Midwest where we're from, where it's a little more casual.
So we have lanyards they wear, identification. People are asking for that nowadays when someone approaches their door.
Makes sense. All right. So when does that step end? When you get to the table, that's when that step kind of ends. Do you make it that formalized? Like with step 1 ends when you get to the table, and then you have a transition into that, which would be, okay, so great. So now let me tell you a bit about what we do here.
So once again, we'd like to thank you for allowing us into your home. We really appreciate the opportunity. And obviously, we'd love to get together and earn your business while we're here. However, the real goal of this meeting is just to give you information on our products and services. So we feel that the best consumer is educated, which is why the price I actually work up for you today, Jordan, will actually be good for 1 full year, so you can relax. And we'll also take a little bit of time over here to make you aware of any promotions we have going on currently. So if and when you're ready to move forward with the project, you have all the information you need to feel comfortable with your decision.
Great.
We feel that's a much more comfortable way of doing business.
So you take the pressure off. Okay, excellent, right? I love this so far. All great, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and they say, okay, great, sounds good, right? Yeah. Then you say, so great. So then you ask a question.
Then we go into our needs analysis.
And what would be the typically first question? So
we get into there. We want to figure out how we got there. Why are we here, right? So were we referred by somebody?
Oh, do they know? So does the salesman know the source of the referral?
Usually.
Okay.
They do, but we'll ask who referred you to our company, implying
act as if everyone's a referral. Yeah.
Got it. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
So you just say, hey, most of the people I meet with referred to us, word of mouth, repeat business. I'm just curious, Jordan, were you also referred by somebody? How did we get here today?
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
And then they'll tell you. So whether it's a TV, and sometimes they had a neighbor down the road that did a bath with us, right?
Sure.
It has to be a conversation, not interrogation. So I'm not sitting there drilling them question after question, right, until they fall over.
You're the trusted advisor, not the grand inquisitor.
Correct, yeah. So that's something we really preach on, is making conversational. We talk about a form method of communication, learn about their family, their occupation, what they do for recreation, motivation, all that stuff.
Right.
And just really learning as much as we can about this person, because ultimately that'll help me tailor my presentation accordingly.
Okay. How long was a typical appointment?
2.5, 3 hours.
Okay.
To fully consummate a sale.
Okay.
Part of what we train on which is the big key of what we do, is selling financing.
Right,
because a lot of consumers, we don't make money on it.
Oh, really?
It's only, and it actually costs us money as a company. But basically, the better you can sell the financing, and it's not something most consumers don't jump up and say, I want to finance. Usually early on in the survey, they'll tell us, if we ask them, are you thinking of financing or cash? A lot of times they'll say cash, but they don't know what the price is. So they may be thinking the windows are going to be $5,000,
right,
and they end up being 20. Sure. So a big key of what we train on is how do you sell financing? How do you get them comfortable with it? Which is a process. So
and does that come up Do you start begin seeding it?
Well, especially because sometimes a customer will blurt out the reason they called is because I saw you have 60-month interest refinancing going on right now, and that's why I called. So certainly at that point, I want to extract more information, maybe even figure out a more of a monthly investment that they know would work for them.
Right.
So basically, we phrase it in a way where obviously I don't want to waste your time showing you things that are out of your comfort zone financially. I know that interest rate is important to you. I find a lot of our customers, when they do budget plans like this, they like to be somewhere between $200 to $300 a month. If and when you do this, is that a range that would work for you, right? And then we know a target that we know we can make it affordable.
Makes sense.
We're anticipating financing, I do a lot of basement remodeling. Average ticket could be $50,000 to $100,000. So it's a big 80% of our customers are financing. We're a merchant for multiple lenders. So we have sort of a tiered waterfall system where we can get just about anyone a loan, as long as they have a pulse.
When they're done with gathering intelligence, the needs analysis, right? They know everything they need to know. Your next step is?
Measure and inspection.
Got it. So this is now specific to your industry. To say, great. Well, based on what you said, so how would you? So you say, okay, great. Well, based on what you said, next step would be, let me just see, what you got, right? Well, give me the words.
One thing you really hammer on in your training is creating urgency, and that's really what the inspection process is all about. So we talk about the cycle of motivation. So the reason why you're there is because the prospect has a problem. Doesn't necessarily mean they're aware of how bad the problem is or how many problems they have in their house.
They're probably in denial also. If they have a problem, they get used to it like,
Yeah, so the beautiful part about the inspection is it's really one of the big opportunities where a sales rep can start to take control of the situation. So we talk about in our training be the thermostat, not the thermometer. So of course the thermostat is going to control the environment, regulate the environment around. The thermometer just responds to it.
that.
So we got sales reps that'll go, for example, on a window lead and they'll sell them $20,000 in bathroom renovating. And it has to do with the inspection. Because
I'm going to steal that from you.
There you go.
To steal that from you?
Sure.
I love that.
I appreciate that as long as you give me a shout out.
I like that. That's a good way of explaining it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we talk about the cycle of motivation. So cycle motivation is problem first at the very top. It's a circular thing. You're there because the customer has a problem. Well, just because they have a problem doesn't mean they're aware of how bad it is. So the real big part of our inspection process is creating pain or trauma in terms of how bad the condition of their windows are, their bath, their basement leaks, their roofing leaking, their siding falling apart. Because very few homeowners go through their house with a fine-tooth comb.
Sure.
So I always ask, like Jordan, for example, your house. Can you tell me the exact condition of every single window in your house right now? Honestly, probably not, right?
So in other words, they might have called you for one window, but you're going to do a free home inspection and make sure that it's like a health check of their entire home.
Correct.
To make sure everything is copacetic. And on that inspection, you'll probably find. I've done this with plumbing companies and it works incredibly well. So is that the system?
Yeah, for
and
example.
it's ethical too, because why not? As long as you're there, you might as well do it, right?
One thing Nathan always says is the customers are never going to get excited about replacing one window. And we certainly didn't drag our asses out of bed to drive that prospect's house to sell one window.
Sure.
So we're always aiming for the whole house.
Yeah.
That's the real goal of the whole thing.
Well, give me an example of something that, would be a typical person that didn't have urgency in the beginning. And what would you find and how would you position that to create urgency?
Yeah, so a lot of times we'll find issues with like mold or mildew. Let's say I'm doing a bath inspection. I got a moisture meter. It measures the moisture content behind a wall. Now on the surface, Jordan, you may think your shower's in perfect condition.
Sure.
But then I show you that behind your wall, there's 100% moisture. Now, if there's moisture behind your wall, what do you think's growing back there?
Mold, yeah.
Yeah.
And it might be black mold, which is dangerous. It's gonna, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they'll think of it that's linked to their seasonal allergies or chronic sinusitis.
Sure.
It's linked to their asthma problems or shortness of breath.
And are you seeding those things in the needs analysis?
A little bit, yeah. A lot of times that comes
If you're
out
not,
in
you
the
should
survey.
definitely be doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
It comes out early on, especially if it is a pain point when we get there. But a lot of times they don't know about it until we point it out.
It's all psychological.
Makes sense.
In the end, hopefully in the end, they want to buy from you and the close is easy.
So how long does a typical inspection take? Is it a 20-minute process, 30 minutes?
That can vary dramatically, obviously, depending
Size of the
on the
house.
size of the project. But I'd say usually 20 minutes to sometimes an hour, depending on how big the project is.
So after you're done with the inspection, right? Then you have a transition into what? The solution now?
Yeah, so one thing he actually mentioned that is very important is we want to get tie downs and commitments on a lot of important steps in the process. So one thing I don't want to try to overcome in closing is procrastination, because they say most people would start a procrastination club, they just don't get around to it, right? But homeowners, if there's no urgency or no commitment to do the work, then it doesn't really matter if the price is good or not, right? The today only won't work as good.
Sure.
So I want to get them committed that they're definitely going to be getting this project done. So we train to get a tie down on the customer. So Jordan, I can definitely see why I'm here, and I'm sure you'd agree, whether it be with us or any of our fine competition, getting these windows, this bath, or this basement is something you definitely need sooner rather than later, true? And then I shake his hand and say, I appreciate the opportunity to help you with that. Right? So you get a handshake commitment on they're definitely doing something with this project.
Sure.
Then I can move on to step 4, being the company story. Now I'm going to educate them on who we are and how we can help them solve their problems.
Great. After you're done with your inspection, right, and you've gotten the necessary tie downs, you've ratcheted up some pain points, hopefully you create some urgency there as well, right?
Yep.
Then the next step would be, before you actually start building out the solution, you're going to talk, well, let me just first, before I show you what we do, let me just tell you a bit about what we do, tell you about our company, and, we're...
So it's a very simple transition. I always ask us, hey, Jordan, let me ask you, what do you know about our company? And they say, oh, I've seen it around, but not a whole lot. I tell you what, let's just take a few minutes to explain why more than 40,000 families like yours have trusted us for their home improvements. Fair enough?
So it's almost a secondary intelligence gathering session as well as, right?
Oh, very much,
Yeah.
Part of it's creating, in a sense, fear, which is true, because what happens if you do go with the wrong contractor, they don't do it right, they go out of business, they take your money, which is very common in our industry. And that should be something they're aware of. There's so many fly-by-night companies when it comes to remodeling. So by taking that time and differentiating that, they're getting that, which is important for them to have that education of what to look for.
And when you're done with the company, then you transition into the actual solution, or?
Yeah, so we get into what we call the evolution part. And again, just like we talked about with the inspection, before we end any step, we need to make sure we're getting commitments from that prospect, right?
So what would be the commitment you'd ask for there?
So I say, Jordan, let me ask you, are there any more questions you have about Grosso University I can answer for you at this time? I get even deeper, because the worst thing they can say is no, but I always ask, if I can design a dream bath you absolutely love and exceed your expectations on affordability so far, would we have earned the right to ask for your business?
Right.
And then if they say yes to that, guess what I'm getting? I appreciate the opportunity to help you with that. So I get a commitment. Now the company, there's a nail in the coffin. The company's over. There's no more research they have to do on us. They're comfortable with me. Now I need to kill the competition and, of course, funnel it down to our product or nothing. Because there are a million options out there for everything we do. And we need to educate them on what those options are, because I want to fulfill their need to shop around, get other estimates, and kill the competition. And step 6 is the product presentation, where now that the only product on the table is ours, we're going to basically convince them now why ours is going to be the ideal solution to their problems. And that's what it's really all about.
Okay.
Because how much would you pay for a product that doesn't solve any of your problems?
Right.
The answer is nothing, right? And how long do you want those problems solved for? For 1 year, 2 years, or how about forever? So that we basically educate them on why our product will solve all those pain points more effectively than any other system. Mm-hmm. And we always say the best close in the world is a masterful presentation. Because when you do a masterful presentation, the customer says 3 things, and that's I want it, I want it, I want it. If they want it bad enough,
right,
not even money will get in the way of them obtaining it. So
what would come next?
That's where we get into the closing sequence, and kind of what I was going to wrap up about our product presentation, the formula. So we got price, condition, differentiation. We also have, we call it like Zig Ziglar, what's in it for me, what's in it for the prospect, the WIIFM. So you can say how your product's different or unique, but what's the benefits to them? Why do they care? Mm-hmm. Why are they listening to you talk about it, right? Mm-hmm. So make sure it's relevant to a problem they're looking to solve. And then we need to get a trial close from that prospect that they would never accept a solution without that feature or benefit. That's definitely something they desire if and when they do this.
Give me an example.
So for example, knowing what you now know about the different types of vinyl frames out there, would you invest in the cheap recycled plastic, the bulky virgin vinyl that's reducing 30% of your glass, or do you feel it's worth it to you to go with our exclusive advanced polymer? It's a true permanent solution that's going to solve all your problems. Which one makes the most sense for you?
Got it.
And then they say, well, I want the polymer. And basically say, can I put these other competition away as an option for you? Or knowing what you now know. So basically we get those commitments. And then we emphasize exclusive. That's the key, is because they can get the same window down the road for $500 less. Why would they buy from me, right? So we emphasize exclusive. So that's the last part of the formula. That's the 5 basically facets to the formula, is your price, condition, differentiation, what's in it for me, trial close, and exclusive. Mm-hmm. And that's how we build our presentations out. And our salespeople are getting those commitments on each of their main selling points. Then we get to the close, it's the natural conclusion to the appointment. We call it getting it to the green. Mm-hmm. So when we're in closing, we don't want to be playing army golf like I do, where it's like hitting it from one rough to the next, left, right, left. I'm not very good at golf, but they should be like tapping in more often than not. They should want to buy from you at this point. I shouldn't have to strong arm a person into a decision every time.
So the close is really more about totaling up what it's going to cost, laying out. This is the financing now come into play here as part of the close?
Yep. So that's where we get into step 7 is getting into the closing sequence. So we end the presentation on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate our solution? You talk about the 3
money
tenths,
aside,
right?
basically. It's a money aside situation.
So we're trying to get the 10 on the product now, right? And most people say 11 or 12 at this point because they're blown out of the water.
Right.
And then we actually joke, only 11? I don't get a 13, right? So if I hear you correctly, and I think I do, this is the product and we're the company you want for your home. Chicken nod, right? In that case, if we can make this affordable and truly fit into your budget, is there any reason we couldn't get you started?
Right.
So that's how we lead into the closing sequence. So basically, we've already funneled it down. Now affordability is the only thing standing in the way. And that's where the first part of closing is price delivery. Of course, effectively delivering the price. There's a strategy to it. We don't just say, okay, here you go, Jordan. So there's a proper thing. And you talk about this in your sales training. Before you drop the price, you need to make them aware of all the features and benefits of your product or service.
Right.
Because the customers only retain maybe 10% of what you told
the
them.
energy and benefits out. Right.
Yeah, we call it features and benefits dump is what we do at the last, before we drop the bomb. And we actually do a little guessing game because that's our report card to see how good of a job we did. So before we deliver price, we always want to feel out where the prospect thinks this will cost. So we play a little guessing game. Now, knowing what you now know, I tell you what, Jordan, I'd love for you to be my guest at dinner this evening. As a matter of fact, if you're able to guess within $500, the total investment of the proposal I have here to get your dream bath, your basement done, will take you out to any fine dining establishment in the greater Los Angeles area, as long as it's a McDonald's or Wendy's. So we basically play a little guessing game. We get both husband and wife to guess what they think it'll cost.
And typically they weigh low.
Well, it depends on how good of a job the salesperson did. And that's why this is important for the salesperson to do, because it tells you how effectively you did at price conditioning. So we say you should do a $40,000 demo for a $20,000 price. So if they're guessing significantly below your starting price, then you did a really shitty job price conditioning.
Typically, do they guess below? What's the typical?
If you do a job right, they should actually guess higher.
Yep, much higher.
And sometimes we'll remind them prior to laying down the price. Earlier we looked at, and we'll show them average pricing, industry published average pricing. We'll show them sometimes competitor quotes. So they have that knowledge.
So you give them some basis to make it.
Right,
guess.
For sure.
We'll kind of remind them of
It's
that.
not like it's not like the Price is Right stuff with just like,
Yeah, it's an educated guess.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And they typically will come in higher?
If you do your job right, and we usually throw in some humor in there. How's your heart, Jordan? Want to make sure here, but basically instead of apologizing for our price, we're actually bragging about it because we're giving them a much better product for the price and service.
Okay.
So,
and so they pick a number and you say, wow, okay.
That would be nice. I love an optimist. It's pretty optimistic, Jordan. And then you get the other. So you want to kind of joke around like it's going to be significantly more.
Right.
Even if they guess higher than my opening price, I want to make it seem it's like even higher than that. So the whole goal of doing this, the reason why we do it and play it up, is so then when I slide the offer over, they should be like, oh, you should see their body language tell you, okay, I'm actually a little relaxed now, the shoulders drop.
Got it.
And make it fun, not make it so intense. Just
Correct.
keep it light, keep it
And
entertaining.
how have you been writing up that offer like the whole way basically? So like, but when you're at that point, you already have it sort of calculated out. You already know what it is.
Sometimes you take a few minutes to price out the job after the presentation's over, and while you're pricing out the job, the
Just talk with
customer.
them,
We have testimonial videos and actual stuff they can read in the meantime while we're working up the price.
So you slide over the price, and they're like, "Holy shit!" No.
Yeah, the good news is the great thing about our system is you don't have to think in closing because the roadmap's already laid out for you.
Step 8 now on.
Step 7 has numerous components. It has price delivery, financial terms, and return on investment.
Okay.
So the next step would be getting into financial terms.
Got it.
Now, as these guys do it, as we train it, no matter what the customer's response is to my price, I lead into financial terms the same way. So if I slide over my price, for example, give me a negative response.
Yeah. Wow. That's a bit more than I thought it would be.
Yeah, no problem, Jordan. I completely understand. Let me ask you, if and when you were to do something like this, how would you handle it? Is this something you take care of as a cash investment? Or is it something like most of our customers, you do a budget plan or
Yeah,
a
probably want to
Okay.
finance it, yeah.
Tell you what, Jordan, since I'm here anyway, let me just show you a few of our most popular budget plans. Just let me know if any of them work for you. Fair enough?
Yeah, sure. Good.
That's it.
and even that little,
Every cell's the same.
Yeah.
Right down the line.
Yeah.
what's unique about that though, that we train on there, and Don went through it fairly quickly, is that a lot of people get caught up right there because if the customer says cash, do they really have the money? 80% of the time, probably they don't actually have the money. They're probably going to their own bank, or they're maybe going to.
So if they say cash, would you say, great, well, let me just, by the way, just so you know, let me just also show you the financing option as well, just for your own information. So at some point you decide you can make the decision yourself and be informed, right? There's one more part now. You said it's.
So financial terms, so we need to extract what could they comfortably put as an initial deposit.
Right.
Obviously, we don't say down payment because nobody likes payment.
Sure.
Initial deposit on the investment, and then work out a couple. And this is where selling financing comes into play.
Right, well, some of our, it's not even that. It's an investment in your home to appreciate the value of your home.
Absolutely.
So it's not. You're not paying for anything. You're investing. You're making an investment.
That's why we are strict that salespeople are not to use the word payment in the house.
It's an investment for sure. Yeah.
It's a monthly investment. It's an initial investment.
It's
so
initial investment,
total investment.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Okay. So and then the step after that would be.
So one thing we train on being assumptive with the close, and out of 75 salespeople, we have 50% closing across the board with all 75.
Okay.
So once they pick a finance plan that's comfortable, I confirm. So what you're saying is the initial deposit of 10% and the $200 a month is totally comfortable and not taking any food off the table? Well, congratulations. I knew we could make this affordable for you. Welcome to our company. And then you slide over the credit app, give them the pen, and you just assume the order.
Sure.
You don't say, hey, so what do you think? You want to get started? You say, well, congratulations. I knew we could make this affordable. And you assume the order.
And what percentage of the people right then and there will buy, and what percentage need to start going into looping?
I'd say maybe 5 to 10% of people will buy at retail. Most people will object.
Okay. And what's the most common objection? Let me think about it.
Think about it.
When someone says they want to think about it, what are you saying?
Hey, no problem. That's why we guarantee the price for 1 year. Then the next step we go right into is return on investment. So one thing I always teach my salespeople, a lot of times they have to think about it for 2 reasons. One, they don't think it's worth it to invest that much money in their shitty home. Sometimes their trailer home or whatever. 20 grand in windows for my trailer home. What do you mean? Or they just they're not convinced this is a lucrative investment that'll give them a payback. So I basically want to show them.
They're just not certain enough yet.
So
right?
that's why exactly. Yeah. So they need to have more certainty, more information now to justify the investment.
Right.
So that's what return on investment is.
So your first loop essentially is to focus on the return on investment.
So I say, no problem. That's why we guarantee for 1 year. Now, before I leave, that's the takeaway. Remember earlier when I said these windows that could in fact pay for themselves and make you money? So I want to show you what I meant by that. So we get into the return on investment close, where we basically show them that with energy savings, resale value, maintenance costs, how the windows in fact can pay for themselves and make them money. And that can actually lead us into another close. Now, Jordan, let me ask you a question. If you gave me $1 here today and I gave you $2 right back forever after, would that be a pretty easy investment for you?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Let's go ahead and get that investment started. And we do another assumptive close. Now it has to make sense to do an assumptive close, right? So for example, let's rewind to financial terms. They say, which one of these plans works best for you? And they say, well, none of them. I'm not going to assume the sale then and be like, well, congratulations. Let's get you started, right? So you have to read the situation. Sometimes it makes sense to go for it. Sometimes it makes sense to hold off.
If they don't buy that, what do you do?
That's a great question. It actually comes with the most important script in our entire process, which is qualification. So basically what it is another huge takeaway to diffuse the pressure. We actually say, now, Jordan, any other questions you have for me before I leave? As I said, the price is good for 1 year. I guess let me ask you, how long do you think it would take for you to get back to me just so I know when to expect your phone call? Really, that soon? So let's say they say 1 week or a month. Really, that soon? You definitely are serious about getting this project done then, aren't you? So we do a takeaway before we get into any more closing, because before I try to land a punch with somebody, I want to make sure their guard's down, right? And the whole goal is to eliminate all the other objections, funnel it back down to money as the only thing standing in the way, and then we finally give them an incentive to buy now. We give them a discount for going ahead and moving forward the project now. So now there's a sale or promotion involved with them moving forward.
And then if they don't buy that, do you have another bonus?
Yep. So this is where sometimes we'll say now the horns come out or the gloves come off, and I'm actually going to get into objection solving mode. So basically after I've delivered the initial visit discount, now the cat's out of the bag. I'm there to earn their business today now. Now we get into properly handling objections. So whether it be think about it, shop around, price is too high. Now we have scripted closes now, usually 3 or 4 at least, to handle each objection. And that's where we get into now solving the objection. So if it's think about it, and it always comes back to funneling it back down to money, essentially, to simplify the whole closing sequence. We're always funneling it back down to money, and that's what all the closes are designed to do.
One thing I have found is that in every industry is that people aren't always so forthright with what's really holding them back.
Right.
Because they're they don't want to say, I don't trust you.
Right.
I think you're going to do a crappy job. So they say, oh, it sounds good. Let me think about it. Yeah. So the idea is, is to realize that, while they might not be saying that, when you answer these objections, it could be as simple as one or two quick sentences to just button up certainty for each of the 310s, sprinkle it in. And you're probably doing this, I assume, right? Yep. In your tiebacks and so forth. And then as you do that, it's sort of like, in the same way, we have that check at the end of energy and benefits, I call it, right? Where you sum up all the benefits once before you mention the price, right? Same thing as that. So
the resistance is built into them. Yeah. Everyone loves to improve their home. I mean, people love it, right? HGTV is a good example of that. But people have the built-in resistance. Even if they want it, it's affordable, they still feel like they have to resist. So we have to keep them relaxed.
Love to buy things and hate to be sold to.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody, there's going to be an event. It's April 17th. Okay? It's Vegas, right? Even if you're not in the home improvement world, all right, you should attend this event. You really should, because it's sales. And I'm going to be going broad, talking about all the stuff I do, not just for home improvements. Obviously, I'm going to skew it towards that, but it doesn't matter what line of work you're in. Also, a lot of you are selling things right now, and, you're in a declining industry, an industry where you have to keep working, no fault of your own. You're in an industry where the margins are collapsing. The competition is getting fiercer and fiercer. The online world is cannibalizing your profits, commoditizing what you sell. This is the opposite. This industry is growing, it's booming, it's lucrative. So if you're a salesperson and you're really not kind of getting what you should get out of what you're selling, you should strongly consider taking a look at what these guys do. They're recruiting salespeople. How would they get in touch with you if they want people looking for jobs with you, or just to find out more about your industry? How would they go about doing that?
So you go to closerscamp2020.com.
Closerscamp2020.com, right?
Or grossouniversity.com. We have an educational website that we've built out as well. So there's all the content, the training content, the videos. It's all built into an online educational course as well that they can take to learn more about this.
Yeah, and one thing
you guys
about
are studying a straight line. You can study this too, by the way. Nothing's mutually exclusive. And when you get great salespeople, stuff to be learned. I'm going to be at this event. Buy your tickets now. You really should be there. Share this podcast with your friends, even if they're not in sales, because the information here is just about communication. To me, it applies to everything in life. It's about success. It's about showing up as your best self every time.
I mean, this is one component of many. We have a whole CEO level, management level, breakout sessions that we're conducting. On that level, we have just as many tips and pointers, methods that we train on, how to run the business, keys to profitability. So there's other elements of our camp besides just sales training. And then we're going to be at the Caesars Forum, which is a brand new facility. We're giving away free hotel stay at the link for a limited time, of course. So people should act fast and get the tickets before we sell out.
Boom. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Share this with your friends. It's a good one. Take care.